All right, today we're going to be going over 5 super intoxicating, sexy smelling designer fragrances that I think are no-brainer purchases. I think you should go out there and give these a try if you can smell them in person, or maybe give them a blind buy if you roll that way too. But I'm also going to follow that up later on with 5 fragrances that I think you probably should pass on. So I always give a justification as to why I would say not to buy something in particular. I'm going to give you guys better alternatives. So there's really going to be almost like 15 fragrances in this video, although not officially. Let's start off with the good first. I think these are amazing. They're great everyday wear scents for the most part. And while some of these might lean in one direction or the other as far as hot or cold weather, within that time of year, you could wear them for pretty much any situation. The first one we're going to be going over is Polo Blue Gold Blend, coming in at an eau de parfum concentration. It's got ginger, melon, incense, sage, and yuzu. Smells absolutely incredible. This is such a big improvement over the original Polo Blue. And it's the incense note in here that really sets this one over the top and just makes it stand out so much more than quite a few of the other ones that we have in the Polo Blue lineup. You know, and this isn't the first time that a designer brand has done this, taken a primarily fresh scent and then thrown some incense in on top, or even some patchouli as well. We've seen that was very successful with Acqua di Gio Profumo, so maybe they were borrowing some inspiration from them. Who knows? I mean, Issey Miyake has done the same thing as well within their L'Eau d'Issey line. You get kind of a yuzu incense combination, and of course, Bleu de Chanel with that birch kind of grapefruit incense deal going on. It works really well. So this is not an original idea per se. However, as far as this stacking up against the rest of the Polo Blues, it does do a good job of kind of separating itself a little bit. And that kind of makes this one worth a pickup more than the original these days. It's soapy, bright, fresh and clean with a little bit of a mysterious smoky twist there as you get into the dry down. It's a really good scent that comes in at discounters for a pretty reasonable price. And as I mentioned there in the beginning, it's an eau de parfum concentration, which is pretty generous because a lot of the flankers can still remain to be an eau de toilette. You know, I would say right now, as far as what we currently have for Polo Blue, I think there's really only 2 that you would pick up. I think you should get Polo Blue Parfum and Polo Blue Gold Blend. I think those are 2 of the best. Deep Blue Parfum probably coming in at number 3 if I wanted to throw one more in, but we're just kind of getting ahead of ourselves. This is one that is worth some attention. Of course, gold accenting on the bottle, which only makes sense, right? If this is one that you've slept on, maybe now is your time to go ahead and give it a try. Okay, next up we have D by Diesel. Okay, so Diesel, everybody's favorite designer brand. You know, not really. Nobody's, you know, waiting around for Diesel to put out a new scent. I understand that. And while they do have quite a few that just don't really excite anybody, this is not a half bad release. Got lavender, vanilla, ginger, amberwood. It's a nice, soft, vanilla, powdery, dusty scent, you know, with a little bit of an aromatic freshness to go along with it, which gives this one an extra layer of versatility, you know, so kind of gonna be, if you wanted it to be, almost an all year rounder. You know, it's gonna be a little sweet for summer, might not be sweet enough for winter, but for those in between times of the year and just for times of the year where a lot of people are going to be inside anyways, where the temperature stays consistent for the most part, this works really well. And I'm definitely not saying to go out there and pay full retail for this. That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, because for that price, you could get things that are better, right? But if you can get this one for a good price on discounters, well below retail, I don't think it's a bad pickup. And, you know, even if you don't like it yourself, if you wear this one, people are absolutely going to compliment you and think that it smells great, right? It has that mass-pleasing, modernized DNA. Next up, we have Paco Rabanne 1 Million Royal. So this one has benzoin, cardamom, tangerine, and cedarwood. So, I mean, gosh, there are so many 1 million flankers, you know, just like the Invictus lineup, although I think there definitely is more 1 millions, at least, you know, as far as what has been produced in the past and what is still out there now, and it makes sense because 1 million has been around for much longer, right? However, you know, they did definitely discontinue a couple of their best releases in the 1 million line, most notably 1 million Privé. That was probably their #1 best smelling fragrance that they've put out. You know, probably not a bestseller of all time. I don't think you could really top the original back in its heyday, but as far as just composition, that was just in a league of its own. And so now you kind of ask yourself, with what they have out there right now that is either in production or just readily available on discounters, what are some of the best? And this is one of the few pretty good ones right now, in my opinion. I've never been the biggest fan of the Parfum, and 1 Million Lucky I really like, so that would be another one as well. But I don't know, you know, the Elixir is not bad, but this one's really nice. So you kind of have a nice dusty, vanillic, powdery smell off the top from the benzoin. And so instead of it being a syrupy vanilla, it's kind of a powdery vanilla. Okay, you get a cardamom rich, spicy kick off the opening right alongside that vanilla smell too, which gives it a little bit of a slightly oriental type of approach. Now they list off tangerine, I brought that one up, maybe a little bit of an orange smell as you kind of get transitioning from that opening into the mid, pick up on that a little bit, and then a nice strong kind of masculine smelling cedar wood. But I really, really like that vanillic smell you get out of this one with that cardamom. It sets this one off. And so again, in a world full of 1 millions and you're not really sure what to choose, 1 Million Royal is a really nice one. Next up, we have Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Paradise Garden. I mean, this probably is going to go down as the most popular release of the year. You know, people are probably going to argue and say that it might be one of the best releases of the year. And I'm not necessarily going to disagree with that either. Personally, I will say that, at least for me, and as far as what I like, it's been a pretty good year for new releases. Now, there have been a few that have been kind of letdowns and a little bit disappointing, but we've also had quite a few that were really, really exceptional. And then we've had a few more redundant new releases like Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum 2024 and Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024, where now they're kind of rebottling things into 100 mLs and doing some weird changing around things. So those are a little bit not as exciting, although nothing's wrong with them either. But this one, I think it got a lot of people pretty excited. So it's got coconut, fig, watery notes, and mint. They're basically taking that original DNA, the Le Beau Eau de Toilette, and even the Eau de Parfum, and making it greener and fresher. So where you would maybe assume that the Eau de Toilette of Le Beau was the freshest, it's really not. It's Paradise Garden. So it's kind of like a progression that a lot of brands do, where they start off with an EDT, an Eau de Parfum, or a Le Parfum, and then they do like an Eau Fresh. And while this one isn't listed or called Eau Fresh, it kind of is, at least as of right now, unless they release a fresher one. And I think this is much more wearable than the original in the Le Parfum, given that added freshness, especially for spring and summertime. And did you know you could get entered to win a bottle of this, a brand new bottle, along with YSL Bleu Electrique, Bulgaria Aqua Atlantique, Roja Elysium Parfum, and many more? If you hit the first link down below, you'll see how to get entered. And last up, as far as what I think you should buy before we get on to the bad, is Azzaro the Most Wanted. Okay, so my little 50 ml here, which really is enough for a lot of us with sizable collections, right? Even though it might not match all of your other bigger bottles and might look out of place, hey, it works. It's got toffee, cardamom, amberwood, so it's kind of a little bit more of a modern style gourmand take on Wanted by Night. Not that Wanted by Night is old or anything like that, because it's really not, but toffee / chestnut and kind of a tonka bean deal is kind of the trend right now, because as we all know, there are always trends going on, whether it's oud or ambroxan or iris or whatever, right? And right now we're kind of in that tonka, toffee, chestnut trend. You see it with a lot of elixirs, a lot of fragrances in general. You can definitely see a very heavy trend of men's fragrances getting sweeter and sweeter as time goes on. And now you have a couple that are kind of pushing back, like the new Sauvage Eau Forte. It's very fresh and woody, nothing like new releases. The new Chanel Allure Homme Sport Superleggera, which I haven't smelled yet, but we can only assume that it's going to be fresh given the marketing and the note breakdown. That's not sweet. So I think there's kind of a little bit of a correction trying to occur with new releases in the direction that they go, but definitely been trending sweet for a long time. But it works. And if you want something that works, this is it. Okay, now let's talk about what I think you should not buy. And like I said, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm going to give you reasoning, okay? This first one is Eros Eau de Toilette. To me, it's past its prime. If Eros Eau de Toilette was all that was out there as far as Eros is concerned, I still say buy it, Why not? It still smells great, and while it's very popular, it still works. But Instead, you can get the parfum, really. I don't really even think there's a need to get the eau de parfum either. And now the parfum has kind of worked its way down into the $50 range on discounters. Okay, that's not too far off. When it was 80, 90 bucks and the EDP and EDT were much more affordable, different story. There's really not much of an excuse anymore. Save your money, put it somewhere else into other things, and just use a chunk of that to buy Eros parfum. And if you wanted to get a second one, get Fling. But I don't think the Eau de Toilette is just worth buying anymore. And again, man, it's a classic. It smells great, but they have made improvements. Okay, next up we have Bentley for Men Azure. Okay, so this is by far the least talked about Bentley for Men. The original, the Intense, Absolute, Silver Lake, all of those are worlds more popular than this. And Bentley for Men Black Edition, almost forgot about that one. So as far as the Bentley for Men's are concerned, there's only two fresh ones. It's Black Edition and this. Black Edition is worlds better than this. This has always smelled a little bit funky to me. I don't know what it is about it. It's got violet leaf, pineapple, and tea. It looks like it would smell really good. And I guess I shouldn't say that it smells bad. It just, I think for the money, there are way better options out there. Whether you're chasing compliment factor or just a good quality, low price scent, you could go for about anything else and in my opinion get a better return than this. Next up we have Scandal Eau de Toilette by Jean Paul Gaultier. So this one kind of has a little bit of a caramel tonka bean twist going on. So it's sweet, has a lavender freshness as well. So really, again, not that it smells awful or even bad, but I think the Eau de Parfum is much better. And I think the brand new one that they came out this year with is much better as well. And so again, you know, just because there are all of these flankers out there doesn't mean you have to own all of them. And it's easy to fall into that mindset. I am a completionist collector is probably what you could classify it as. Maybe you would describe it in a different way, but whenever I get into a hobby, pretty much no matter what it is, I go all in. I have to have everything, right? Fragrances, I mean, that speaks for itself. I'm big into cigars, and I have 2 humidors full of cigars that I will probably never smoke. Don't do that. It's stupid, and that's kind of the same thing with these flankers. It's probably what they want you to do, realistically, but you don't have to. I think the Eau de Toilette is not really worth buying. Get the Eau de Parfum, get the new one. There are many other fragrances out there on the market in general that are better. This next one, it's so weird. It happened twice. What was it? Probably, I guess, would have been last year, or was it even the year before? I don't know. Time is flying and it's all kind of running together. But a brand that has had 2 fragrance lines sitting dormant for years and years and years, like 10 plus years, dropped 2 flankers out of nowhere with no marketing, and they went straight to like rack store websites. Really, really bizarre. I have no idea what happened, and I would love to know more about this phenomenon. Montblanc Individuel Tonic. It's got juniper berries, rosemary, mint, and a ton of other notes. I mean, go look at this one online. There's a lot going on. I'm just not really, I don't think it's worth the time to even explain all of them. I don't think this is all that good. The original Individuel needs no introduction. It was hyped up, you know, I don't know, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, somewhere around in there. 25 bucks, kind of, well, you know, it smelled like Creed Original Cental because it was out first, and then Creed came out with that after, and so this is much cheaper. That's kind of, the Creed made Individual more popular because the Creed was more popular. You guys understand what I'm saying. And again, I don't even need to explain it for most of you, but there it is anyway. And so yeah, I think that one, the original, is still way better than this. I mean, the original isn't all that high quality smelling, not that you'd expect it to be. This one's just, ugh, man, I don't know. It's just, for the money, which it's 22 bucks, at less than 25, there's just infinitely more things out there in this price range that are better. And if you wanted to toss in an extra 10 bucks on top and get up into that mid $30 range, things are way, way more better as well. I just don't think this one is all that good. And I'm sure you guys know what else I'm talking about. There was Montblanc Starwalker Extreme. Okay, so from the same brand, obviously. They just came out of nowhere. And really, Starwalker Extreme isn't all that phenomenal either, so I don't know what was going on. Last up, we have Azzaro Wanted. Just buy Wanted by Night, or the Most Wanted, like I talked about, or the Most Wanted Parfum. Basically, you don't need this, and you don't need Wanted Tonic either, which I was also going to put in here. If, you know, Wanted by Night, the Most Wanted Parfum, are too sweet and you're thinking, you know, why don't I just get the original Wanted because it's fresher? That would make sense in theory, but this one isn't really all that fresh either. Wanted Tonic, it's fresher, but isn't really all that good of an approach either. I think if you're wanting fresher than the Wanteds, go for something else entirely. You don't need to stay within this lineup. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some fantastic fragrances I think you should pick up and some that are just not worth the time and money. And even though these 5 that I don't recommend aren't all that expensive, right? You know, you might think, oh, they're cheapies, I'll pick them up anyway. And of course, you know, do what you wanna do. If curiosity's getting the best of you, go for it. But a little bit of money adds up over time. Like people think, oh, I'm just gonna buy all cheapies. That's okay sometimes, but man, you could have put some of that money into one fragrance that is worlds better than spreading it out across 10 or something. And like I said, if you want to get entered to win Le Beau Paradise Garden and 19 other fragrances, hit the first link down below and you'll see what to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.